handrails. Now, isn't that a beautiful handrail? It absolutely is. That's and so, but my problem with this is it's grandfathered in, so I don't have a problem and nothing like that. But see how the spacing is between my spacing. Used to be 6 inches between posts or between our pickets, but we kind of got away from that because it had to be little children could stick their heads through that. I know. Us old timers were thinking, you mean to tell me I got to build a deck because my children, I've never taught my children how to behave? Well, that to a certain point is true. What do you say? But on the other hand, we all know how fast kids move. And they move really faster than us parents do. And who knows? So it's a great idea to make sure that every 4 inches, that's code compliant, but that's also small enough that a child can't stick his head through, or a puppy dog or something like that. I got a little puppy that could go right through that 6-inch handrail and fall off the edge of the deck. You know, I don't want that. So in this case here, I just recommended that they do something to kind of, but it's so pretty of a deck, you know, and with this one here, honestly, by code, it does not even need a handrail. So whatever they put up was just fine. Anything's better. And if a kid did fall off over your puppy, it wasn't going to hurt him too much. And hopefully they'll only do it once. So, and we're going to, now look at this. Now, well, let's do this here. Let's back up. See how my pickets, they run down here and they tie to my band board. And this is really a quite common way of doing it, and it's a fabulous way, and it really makes it stout. But this is more of a purdy way. And you see, this is what happens. And my pickets come down here, and then they sit right here on my shoe plate, and they just totally rot away. And you just literally can't do much about that. I mean, you could keep it painted. Just that anytime snow sits on anything like that, it just deteriorates that much more quickly. And you're going to pay more money for it being done this way. It is pretty, but you're going to pay more money. Now you want to have you can have no more than 4 inches from the bottom plate to the bottom of your top of your deck. There again, 4-inch clearance, so animals and such. And if you don't, I'd highly recommend that you put a little, something around it to make sure nobody gets hurt. But yeah, that happens all the time. Do you think that's safe? Well, stupid question. We know better. So hey, let's move on down here. Let's look at this next one here. This is a good one here. All right. Now, nice looking extension cord, but that's pretty much irrelevant to the story here. And what I'm talking about, how we're attaching my post to my house. Now, there's a lot of ways of doing it, and I'm not going to say what's right and what's wrong, but I will say what is incorrect is that when I put a bolt or anything from my post into my house or through my vinyl siding, you want to make sure that hole's got a hole in that vinyl siding is big enough so it could allow it to move and not crack or cause siding issues. But hopefully you get this good and tight. Most of the time, we don't even attach it to the house. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have other ways we can secure it. But as long as it's nice and tight, you do not want that wobbling back and forth. You might lose your extension cord. Anyway, that was mean. Let's move on down. And here we go. Here's a beautiful treated handrail. Now, can you imagine? For one, you couldn't even put your can of adult beverage up here without it falling off. Look at it, it's so warped up. But see how my nails are coming up? It's just because it's old and drying out. You see it's how bad it's cracking. All that needs replaced. That is absolutely not safe. You would run your hand across these nails, you're going to tear your hand wide open. You just there's no patching this one. This one's a goner. So you want to make sure if you see that, just know that it's no longer safe. So let's look at this one right here real quick, and let's talk about the top of my post. Now, this is the top of my cedar post, which also does the same thing, but not to the degree as this. But what happens is, and they've been sealing it, there's just nothing in the world you're going to do about it. Now, structurally, that's not going to make you fall. You're not going to get hurt. It's not in that, but aesthetically, it looks horrible. And they've done their best to try to, paint this over top of it and make it look better. But they do sell metal caps, copper metal caps, aluminum caps you can put over top of it, and that's how I'd recommend for aesthetics. But if you see that is not a safety issue in my book, it's just an aesthetics issue. Let's move on over here off the same handrail. Now, you see how my post is. This is my top cap running right into this, and these are shrunk, and this is because this is loose, and this is loose, and they're both moving different rates. And now look, I got this separation. These nails are not technically strong enough to hold. So if you're a good, you're a couple of teenage lads out there, and you bounce off that, you could literally find your butt on the ground. Hopefully your ground's not far from the top of your deck. Well, if you do, but this is a problem. And so, but look at that. And we could talk about it. You're just going to have to secure it. I don't care. There's tons of ways of doing it, and it's an aftermarket, and it's yours. So you do it to however you feel best. Just make sure that it is strong and that you feel like you could bounce against it. Now, here we go. I wanted to show you this picture because now I showed you this picture of this painting type of material they put on decks. And if you, after a while, this is what it looks like. No, this is still not structurally a problem, but it is aesthetically pretty unsightly. You want to make sure that, if you're going to, once you seal it, once you paint it, you married that. You married it forever. If you put a clear sealant on it or something like that, or even a pigmented sealant on it, that will not cause you that kind of grief. But once you paint it, or you put this here type of material on it, it's definitely going to, you married it for eternity. You're never going to get away from having to keep painting it. So think about that when you do it.